Sunday bites and tidbits. This life they'll help you live it and get yourself together. Sunday bites and tidbits.
Ladies, hello. What is happening? What's going on?
Hello.
Good to see you. You guys are so beautiful.
Well, ditto.
Sure. Hey, we're over here doing our thing, right? And
Yeah.
I know that we have a lot of stuff to talk about, but can we talk about this moment that we're in? Can we please talk about this moment?
Beautiful moment.
Yeah, we.
Yvette, I'm gonna bounce that to you because I know you have things to say.
Well, you know what? You guys know I'm always on MSNBC, and now I've fallen in love with my girl Kamala, and she just gave this speech, and it was fire. So of course I'm on cloud nine right now. I don't know about y'all, but yeah, I'm just so happy.
Oh, well, listen, I am because just the fact that we're in this moment, you guys, we saw Barack Obama and Kamala in the, you know, like
Lifetime, man. In this lifetime.
not taking anything away from President Biden. I mean, thank God for the things that he has been able to accomplish because he's basically been a lame duck trying to get stuff done, right? And he still put a Black woman on that Supreme Court. He brought a Black woman in who is so has such force and such magnitude as his running mate, and then they won, and now he's society.
Oh my gosh, this is so
I mean,
amazing.
Oh my God, I'm getting chills. It's amazing. It's amazing. And
Yeah,
what-
it just makes me really happy because I actually shed tears. I was at my event when I found out that Joe had stepped out, and I just burst into tears. And then they said, "But he's choosing Kamala," and I was like, "Oh, let me dry up."
Well, what better way to welcome our guest today, man? This is so
True.
apropos. You guys have no idea how excited I am to hear this journey because we talk about rewriting a script of your life and redirecting yourself and your journey. This woman, she is amazing. And she also, from what you said, she also, did you say ran for president at one point?
She did run for president, and you know she's my friend, Ambassador Braun. That's her stomping ground, Chi-Town.
Nice.
So I grew up knowing who she was,
Right. Nice.
and now I know her.
That's
It's
nice.
a lot. And yeah, I could go on. I can't wait for you guys to meet her. But
Yeah,
you guys,
I'm excited.
besides this Kamala moment, anything kind of magical or but you said you had an event.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I had my first roundtable talk, 4 incredible doctors, cardiologists, herbalists. I mean, it was just an amazing event. I only had room for 50 people. It was my first one, and it was an overwhelming success. So I'm just so grateful. And so many people learned so much, and they were able to ask so many questions. It was exactly what I wanted. Exactly.
and so much information, even when you travel this journey as we do with the, vegan lifestyle and really, using herbs instead of medication. And, as we are 50s, 60s, and 70s on this page right here, we've been able to, kind of stand firm in our health and work out and all the things that a lot of people kind of fall prey to as you get older. You kind of fall into the sicknesses and all of that other stuff. But there was so much still that I learned on that day.
Right.
So much more information because
Right.
people actually study this all day long. When Dr.
Yes.
Mike was talking, I was like, wow, I never even thought of that one.
I
So
know.
you want to go learn some more stuff, about
know.
what the life I've been leading. It was amazing.
And you know what? I learned something too about, I'm always like, well, I feel so good. I don't need I don't need a
Primary
doctor,
care.
primary care physician. And then they were like, girl, please, you better go get them numbers and that blood work done once a year. You better stop tripping. And they made us understand the importance of that. And so yeah, you're never too old to learn.
Never too old. And I always go. I don't necessarily take their prescriptions because they're always saying, "Here, we're going to write you something," and I'm like, "Please don't waste your paper." Well, what do you mean? I said, "Well, I don't take medication unless you tell me I'm dying in like an hour, and if I don't take it, I'll be dead. Then I'll consider
An
it."
hour.
Well,
You know,
maybe a day, but if I can go home and figure out another, like this finger, I slammed the mess out of this finger. I mean, so badly that
that was so horrible.
it bled all night. And it wasn't even cut open, but it was stuck in a chair. And it kept putting the pressure on it. And oh my God, the throbbing. And I said, okay, you can go because all in my mind, I was like, oh, what do they do? They get tetanus shots. And I said, I ain't doing no testing. I'm not doing any. So I got me some aloe vera and I sliced it. I cut it and sliced it open. And I put the frozen around, stuck my finger in the middle of it, then wrapped it. And then I let it sit out for a while. Then I put some castor oil on it because castor oil is a wonderful healer. Then I just kept doing that over and over and over. And I did, honestly, the throbbing was keeping me awake. I took one Tylenol, one something, and then I said, okay, this is all I need. And then now it's already gone down, but it was.
Today, we're joined by a remarkable individual who has spent her life breaking barriers and shattering glass ceilings. She made history as the first African-American woman to be elected to the U.S. Senate, and at that time, she was the only Black person serving in that chamber. Over the past several years, I've had the privilege of getting to know her, and I am struck by her warmth. Why is this making me emotional? Her wit, her wisdom, and most of all, her kindness. Her bio, her life, and her career, I mean, really, it would take the entire show to give her her due, and even then, we'd only scratch the surface. She's received so many well-deserved honors for her work, including a Special Achievement Award from the U.S. Department of Justice and an Honorary Doctor of Law from Harvard, one of many. And now she's sharing her incredible life story with the world in her upcoming memoir, Trailblazer, Perseverance in Life and Politics. And it is our pleasure, it is my pleasure to welcome American icon, a national treasure, and my dear friend, Ambassador Carol Moseley Braun, to the show.
Oh, yay. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here to see you, Sylvia. If I can support you in any way, because you've been so kind to me, I'm grateful to you forever.
That's so sweet.
You are all, as my girls say, you are all the things. You are all. You know what I did not know, and I'm sure we've talked about this, but I don't remember knowing that you were plant-based.
But Sylvia, here's what you need to understand. I do eat meat. I'm not a complete vegan. I eat
Right.
meat and seafood and those kinds of things. But yeah, I started off with I was into biodynamics, and which is the step beyond organic. And the whole idea was that you would eat food that was natural and that had no chemicals on it, that had no processed anything involved with it. And so I've been doing that since as long as older than you are. So many, many years. But that's just because of the way that I was raised. I was raised committed to natural food and food as God intended. And so I have been involved with that for many, many years, to the point that when I joined the biodynamic board of directors for Michael Fields, I had to explain to them, I said, my great grandmother used to farm. And when she farmed, she used fish. She put the fish in the row at the beginning of a row of whatever it was she was planting, and then she would plant whatever it was. And that was how we were introduced to food. So this goes back with me a long way. I hesitate to say I need to tell you though, I am not a vegetarian. I should be, but I'm not. My body prefers plant-based.
Yeah. I mean, but that's kind of here we don't I mean, we're plant-based. You know, I'm vegan. We've talked about that, but we're not. And obviously, Chef Babette is vegan, but we don't. Everybody's welcome here. And our whole thing is you put in your body what feels good to you. And in your case, you have made some choices that are the reason you look the way you look, and the reason you have been able to overcome some physical challenges along the way. You know, not the least of which being COVID. You know, and so anyway, I'll definitely bounce it over to the ladies, but at some point, I do want to tap into the story of you, your childhood, a pretty significant thing that happened with you and Martin Luther King Jr. when you were pretty young, and all of that.
All the Trailblazer, the book which will
Yeah,
come out this fall.
yeah,
And in fact, I
yeah.
got an email right before this call asking me to finish up my acknowledgments. I haven't done that yet in the pictures, you know. So I have a plethora of pictures from all different stages of my life, and
Yeah.
I'm delighted that they're going to. And you, Sylvia, you were responsible for it. I would not have known these people if it hadn't been for you. And so
Oh,
I have hooked into some people who want to know my story, and I'm getting a chance to tell it. And we're writing. We're almost done now with writing it.
I would love to, without giving away the book, because we want people to buy the book, but I would love to kind of give an overview of how, if you can condense a little bit of the journey, because but Sylvia and I are in the creative arts, right?
mhm.
And that's a whole other world. So when I look at politics, that's a whole other world. It's like the group of people that live over there. Then there's the group of people that live in the sports world. Then the group of people that live in the acting world. And I look at everything as a script. Okay. Like our lives are a script. Every day we wake up, we decide who we're going to write in, who we're going to write out. We invite people in. We go, I don't want them around me anymore, whatever. And then we write them out like a production. So at some point in your life, you wrote a script. You decided, okay, this is the direction, or this is something people that I want. I like this person, I like that person, I like what they're doing. Could you share a little bit of that without giving away too much of your book?
Tara, that actually you've just touched on a very sensitive subject for me. That is to say, I did not plan all of this out in advance. It should have been or could have been, but it wasn't. It just kind of happened. A lot of it happened. Serendipity is one of the lines that I have to refer to. I started out I didn't know what I wanted, like most kids, I didn't know what I wanted to be or do. And then after I got to law school, my father made the point that my father wanted me to be a lawyer. So I did law school, and then once that was over, I became an assistant United States attorney. And my dad said I was a paper pusher for the government. Okay, so that was it. And then after U.S. Attorney's Office, I then got into electoral politics. I had actually had my toe in the water on that because I started off. I ran for student government when I was in college and ran for office there and got elected. That was my first elected office. I tell people was the student government secretary of the Action Party. And so then once I stepped out of the public sphere and became a homemaker, then it just kind of grew from there. I wound up standing for public office for the state legislature. I got elected there, even though one of the guys said to me, "Don't run, you can't possibly win. The blacks won't vote for you because you're not part of the Chicago machine. The whites won't vote for you because you're black, and nobody's going to vote for you because you're a woman." So it was like, okay, so where do I go sign up for whatever he's
Right,
talking
exactly.
Ah,
Exactly.
But so then it went from there, and I got started in state government, and then moved on to county government, and then moved on to national government, and even ran for president at one point. I'm just so happy today, and this may be the timing of it. I hope I'm not messing this up by saying what I'm about to say, which is I'm very, very excited about Kamala Harris now having the Democratic Party's, or soon to have the Democratic Party's nomination for president of the United States. I think that as a Black woman, I know what she's had to go through, and I've got nothing but good things to say about her. She's very qualified, and I just hope that we can surround her with love and grace, and surround her with the kind of girding that she will need to deal with all the crap that's about to come her way. Because it is going to come. I mean, trust me when I tell you, been there, done that, hated it. We know that it's that's what they do, and that's how they come at you, and they try to get you off your game, and they try to knock you off your foundations and get you reacting to stuff, sometimes that you don't need to. So I just hope that she has the grace and the support and the courage to handle all that's coming at her, because it will come at her, and we just have to surround her with love and surround her with protection and surround her with the best that we have to offer, so she can get elected. She can be elected, and that's the first thing, to get over the misogyny that all of this, say a woman can be elected to these offices. And when I got elected to the Senate, they said a Black woman could. I just told you the story. And even when Barack, who's my neighbor, by the way, when he ran, it was like a Black person can't get elected president. Well, he proved that wrong. So we're moving in the right direction as a nation, and I hope that this election season will secure that and keep us in that direction.
I just am just overwhelmed and excited about Kamala running. And when I got the news at an event I was having on Sunday, I just broke out in tears when they said Joe had stepped out of the race. But then they said, but he's going to choose Kamala. So I was like, okay, I can dry these tears up and be okay and go to work. So yeah, this is a beautiful time for us. And
let me say this, and we have not met before, but I've known Joe Biden 20 years at this point. When I first got elected to the Senate, he came and visited me and asked me to serve on the Judiciary Committee. I was not interested in the Judiciary Committee at that point. And so we had this back and forth, and I finally gave in and told him I would serve. And I became kind of his wingman on the Judiciary Committee. And so I know this man. I like to say I worked with him closely for 6 years and then stayed friends with him to the point of even going to his son's funeral.
Wow.
So I can do nothing but say that praise Joe Biden in the highest, because he was wonderful. I was happy to endorse him. And I said to somebody the other day, I said, I would have followed Joe Biden to the gates of hell. He's a good man, and he did a good thing when he tapped Kamala Harris to be his successor as president. And I think that she will do a great job. She's eminently qualified. Anybody if they try to throw not qualified at her, they are really talking through their hat.
Right. Well, both of these people have shown us exactly who they are.
That's correct.
And you know what I mean? It could have been a hot mess if Joe Biden were not the person that he is. Yes. And the last 3 years have been not a hot mess, but the years prior to him were. And especially with COVID. So I was at the place where it was like, you could take Joe, prop him up to a stick, and
I agree,
and get his mouth to move. And I don't care, but that's gonna be who I'm voting for. I don't even care. So when they said he had stepped out, I was like, no, he can't. But now that Kamala's in there, looking like my girl here, Sylvia.
Because
don't they remind you of each other? Come on now.
They do.
That's my baby Kamala.
I'll play her in the film.
There you go.
It's funny because my dad was always trying to get me to become a lawyer as well. And my mom said to me one day, because I was about to go that route. I don't even know if you girls know that. I was about to go that route. And my mom said, do you really want to be a lawyer, honey? Or do you want to play one on TV?
Oh, that was good. They went on TV for me.
Exactly. One of the things I'm a little bit of I'm probably a lot of a unicorn, but I'm definitely a little odd, and I kind of flow in several different spaces pretty comfortably, and I got pretty politically active as a kid, as a teenager, and started working with the Democratic Party in Rockford and those kinds of things, and so I did. I was, as you know, I've told you this, I was very aware of you and what you were doing and your accomplishments. And, you were part of my posters, the people that I looked at and said, that's what a person ought to aspire to
Right.
be.
That's nice.
And it wasn't about perfection. It was about passion and legacy and
Service.
fortitude and vision and purpose. And that's what I saw in you. And that helped me throughout my life and continues to help me even today. But and speaking of journey, one of the things I was going to ask you is, you've been down this road. You ran for president at a time
Right.
when, you didn't have a sitting president propping you up and tapping you on the head, right? You went out there and did what you did, with some support, but I imagine not as much support as you would have liked. And so, if you had to say to the Carol of that day from the Carol of today, what would you say to her?
Quite frankly, it takes sometimes the naivete, the obliviousness or whatever, but just to go for it and do what you think is the right thing to do. And that was
Yeah.
that was my lodestar, is to hold on, hug my moral compass and hope that I was doing the right thing, not just for me, but for others as well. I wasn't trying to show off or anything like that. It was a natural step in the progression for me. And I'm not sorry about any of it. I'm sorry I didn't win. I'm sorry I dropped out, all that. But other than that, hindsight is always 20/20, right? So it was a matter of timing. So I did it in the time that probably was not the best suited for having someone like me running for president, but somebody's got to be there at the battlements to take on misogyny and racism, and somebody's got to get out there and just take it on and not be intimidated or frightened.
Now, was that your nature in general to be?
I think so. I
Okay.
think so. I'm not a contrarian, but I think I got out there in part because, like I said, back to that early story about don't run, you can't possibly win. I mean, my attitude is, if I'm qualified and I've got everything going on paper and I know how to do this job, then why shouldn't I go for it? Just because of the
Right.
color of my skin or the fact that I'm a woman? And so my attitude was that going out there made a point that women can do these jobs, Black people can do these jobs, and there's no reason why they shouldn't try.
I so love you for that and your strength. I think your timing was perfect because you taught women like myself to go for it. It just all that other stuff, you got to stay in the moment. You know who you are, you know your strength, and you go for it. And none of that other stuff and whatever anybody is saying ain't got nothing to do with you, nothing to do with you. You knew who you were. And that is the lesson that you taught so many of us. Go for it.
So many people, I've even struggled over the years with the outside naysayers, hearing those voices, because we all.
No, she ain't. Don't believe a girl. Ain't nobody never told her she couldn't do nothing. Come on now.
I felt,
okay, I'm sorry.
Well, you know what, Senator? To be honest, I'm like you in that way. You tell me I can't do it, I'm going to do it. But then I sit down and I have my own battle with from old tape stuff. You know what I'm saying? But if you tell me I can't do it, I'm because
she gonna do it.
But well, and quite frankly, if you look at an issue or a challenge and you say, how does this break down for me and for others? And I'm doing the right thing, I'm on the right side of my moral compass, then why wouldn't I do this?
Right.
One of the best speeches in the history of American politics was delivered by Ambassador Carol Moseley Braun.
Thank you very much, Matthew, for that lovely introduction. Today, I am officially declaring my candidacy for the Democratic nomination for President of the United States. I have the experience, the ability, and the ideas to heal and renew America. In all of my public service, I have broken down barriers, built bridges, and brought people together to achieve solutions that put the public interest first. As a young federal prosecutor, I won a Justice Department award for my work to put an end to exploitation in housing policy. As a state representative, I fought for education and passed laws to create the first local school councils and agriculture schools in Illinois. My colleagues voted me conscience of the House for my advocacy of the poor. As a county executive, I convened the first advisory council and worked with organized labor to improve conditions for the employees and the public. When I left the office, it had become a profit center for Cook County. The workers were better off, and the public was better served. As a United States Senator, and as the first woman to serve on the Finance Committee, I passed laws for women's pension equity and for environmental remediation and alternative energy, for school modernization and restoration of the interest deduction for college loans. You all like to hear that, right?
That speech should be going viral right now. It's just, that's why in the intro, I didn't call you, even though obviously you're a Black woman, but you're an American
There
icon.
you go.
You know, it's
We all
for
are.
us.
Yeah.
We all are. And we need to own that and
Yeah.
celebrate.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
for anybody to tell us that we're less than Americans, it's
There you
ridiculous.
go.
We built this
Yeah.
country.
Yes.
And maybe because I'm so much, again, I just got confirmed. I didn't tell you this, but anyway, I just got confirmed as the chairman of the United States Africa Development Foundation.
Nice.
So I'll be
Oh
spending a
my
lot of time on the continent. And I feel very strongly about the contributions that these Africans made to building this country. We should not let anybody make us take a back seat or take low in terms of our patriotism. The fact of the matter is, we were the patriots when nobody else was.
Exactly.
Yes. I
And
love
we built
it.
this country. We built this country with our own blood, sweat, and tears, and we're never celebrated for it. Many times ostracized and criticized for it, and not acknowledged. But I think now it's time to come into our own.
There
And
you
I think
go.
that's each and every one of us to do that.
I love it.
So many things that you've accomplished, so many things that you're still doing. I dare not refer to you in the past tense because you are currently on fire and doing all, as the kids say, all the things. But I know sometimes you have to get tired. You have to get to a point where, not that you ever want to quit, but sometimes it gets it becomes what it becomes. What's the thing that inspires you to just keep going, and what is that? What does that?
Well, Sylvia, actually, I think if anything, it's my faith and the fact of the matter, I feel I have an obligation to do whatever I can do with this gift of a life that I've been given. You know, I wake up in the morning grateful. And so, because there's no guarantees. In fact, this afternoon, I've got to run off my alarm just went off. I got to run off because one of my best girlfriends just lost her mother. And her mother was older than me. But the fact is that life is so tenuous. We don't know if tomorrow is going to be ours or not. And so we have I think, responsibility to do the best with each day that we can do and contribute as much as we can contribute. And if you have a special set of skills, it is not right for you to sit on them and just pretend that they don't exist. You take those skills and go and put them into the world and do what you can do to make life better.
I love you. That's just, I love that. I mean, that
you're
is,
so sweet.
but that's exactly what I believe. And it's exactly what I push every time I'm talking to young people, anybody. It's like you have now. You stay on your purpose and you give thanks for this beautiful human journey, this beautiful human experience, and do exactly what you know you're supposed to do. Because every decision we make, there are consequences.
Right, exactly.
Whether good or bad, there are consequences. And you know how to stay on message. And what you just said gave me chills. I loved it.
Good.
I loved it. Yes.
I think, I also think that we get so caught up in the minutia of everything else that's happening in our day that we forget that we don't even have to go that far in advance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we stay here and now and really soak in the fact that, wow, I'm sitting here talking to a senator. I've been in front of this person, that person, but hey, I'm sitting here talking to Senator Carol Moseley Braun. You know what I mean? And this is amazing to me. So this moment right now is filled with that joy.
Yes.
Don't worry about whether the such and such is going to happen in 20 minutes because we're not there yet. And in
Deep.
20 minutes, something else will happen beautiful that will take care of that. And if we can really remember to live in those moments and stop jumping ahead of the game because it doesn't exist, then
It's,
I think we would take a lot of stress off of ourselves.
yes, we would.
Senator, if you could think of one time when you really wanted to say, I'm done, what was that? And or close to when I just feel like I can leave this behind. What was that, if it was anything, and how did you pivot around that? How did you move through that?
It was, but I've had those instances, and I can go and be very specific with you. But each time I've been bailed out. Not to sound like a Bible thumper, but I've been bailed out by the Lord. I have. I mean, I have been able to come through so many different challenges that, again, we don't have enough time now, but it's all in the book, which is about in the fall. But yeah, I've been many times challenged and pushed to the limit. I haven't lost my mind, but I've been, I think, close when I was just ready to say, "Oh, I'm not doing this anymore." All this. So, but I've come through, and each and every time something has happened in my life that I did not control. It just came at me, serendipity, you want to call it that. Blessing, no telling what you call it. It doesn't matter. Less important what it's called than the fact that's what's happened in my life. And that serendipity has brought me this far, and will, however many days I have left, will take me the rest of them.
Oh,
It's
beautiful.
power twins of faith and favor.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what carries. That's what carries me.
Yeah.
Mitchell and I walk 5 miles in the morning, and it's become the most precious time of our day. And it's funny because we used to spend that time at the gym. We kind of talked to each other, but he had his headphones on, I had my headphones on, and now we're walking together. 5 miles doesn't feel like a long way,
No.
especially
Right.
when you're walking with someone that you are in agreement with, And this morning, it was right on the heels of what you just said, Tara. So the only time I ever feel that sort of what I call that low grade disappointment is when I'm focused on the external, when I'm focused on the shouldas. It should have happened.
Woulda, coulda,
now.
shoulda.
They
Right.
should have done it by now. This should have happened by now. But based on whose parameters? You've decided that this or that thing has a timestamp.
Matters.
And when
Right.
it doesn't meet that timestamp, you live in a continuum of this like low grade disappointment. When you let that go and get in the flow of life and get in the flow of what the Spirit of God is doing, then you get surprises along the way, and you find yourself maximizing opportunities that you didn't even imagine existed in your life, rather than trying to faith them into being. But when you feel like you're in a deficit, you're feeling sad, you don't feel happy, you're feeling exhausted physically, emotionally, spiritually, you give from your deficit. You give from your perceived deficit. So it's gonna, if you give love, if you give encouragement, if you give kindness, if you give blessing, that's coming back to you. That boomerangs back to encourage you in your time of perceived deficit.
Okay, put a little break for the sponsor. We'll be right back.
Okay, so here goes. How do you connect with your soul and listen to its wisdom? And how has that impacted your fitness and wellness journey?
Well, it has. Thank you for that question. It's been very important to me to stay connected to the spiritual. Um, because quite frankly, I don't think I could have survived all the bricks and bats that have come to me, the nattering nabobs of negativism. I couldn't have without my faith. And so that's been very important to me. And I don't go around proselytizing and trying to push other people, because a lot of people don't believe that, including my son, who makes me, oh, Mom, you're just a Bible thumper. Well, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I said, and one of these days, maybe you have the maturity to understand that you need to come back to this. Okay. So, but yeah, no, I just hang on to my faith and recognize that I don't have all the answers. I'm still in a learning position. I have to learn as I go. And quite frankly, you sometimes learn from your defeats more than you do from your victories. And that's unfortunate, I think. That's a tough way to do it. It's like, why? But, why ask why? The fact of the matter is, that's just the way it is. And you just go do the best you can do.
The journey, just part of the journey.
Yes.
Never too old to learn.
Never too old to learn.
I love it. Thank you.
So let me ask you this. When you were faced with things, did you ever, I know you bounced back and found your way back, but was there ever a time when you just said somebody had to talk you back into it?
Absolutely, Tara. And that's where having friends comes in. And it's very important to have people who care enough about you, who care enough about the truth to tell you that and to bring you back into reality, to bring you back to the point where you really can contribute to others. Because if you don't have anything yourself, if you're spiritually depleted, you can't give to others.
Right.
And the whole idea of this existence is not that we are individuals, although that's very important, obviously, but it's also that we are individuals who are making a difference for good in this world. This world can be very messed up, and you can get a very negative view of what's going on if you look at the reality of things. If, on the other hand, you've made up your mind that you want to make it better and that you're going to do what you can do in your space to make it better, I think that's the answer to all of this.
Yes.
Mental health and better relationships, as well as better impact on the community as a whole.
So on point.
Yeah, one of the things that I discovered in my life, especially as I'm gracefully aging, is that I have to pay very close attention to who I align with, who I allow in my space. Because when those moments come, when you feel like you just want to go, I can't do this, you got to have the right people who know how to say that. Don't just say things that they think you want to hear. They will tell you the truth so that you can bounce back, grow, learn, look at yourself, reflect. And so aligning with people who are like-minded, and sometimes that means getting family members out of your way, because they're not always, just because they were born,
not always on your side.
They're not always on your side. And they have what I call, I do work when I could talk about people's blueprints. We're all given a blueprint when we were young. And the blueprint is based on what our parents did or what their family did or the traumas that they went through. They just passed that blueprint to us. And we start living that blueprint out, not even realize, I don't want to do this anymore, but I'm so used to doing it this way that this has become my blueprint. So now you got to rewrite that. You got to redesign your blueprint. And when you do that, sometimes everybody does not get to come along with you because they still want to play in the old paradigm. They want to play in the old way, and it doesn't work anymore. So I understand that if you didn't have strong people around you, it would have probably dealing with all you had to deal with out in the world. And then you come home and then they're in your ear like this. I'd have been under a rock crying every day. Going, I know I did this. I should have just been doing something. I'd be crying because I'm such a crybaby anyway. I'd be crying all the time, like, why'd I do this?
But you also keep going and you encourage everybody around you. But on that note, Senator, what if you were an advisor to the vice president right now? Is it still technically vice president, or is it senator now? What?
She's vice president.
She's still okay.
Well, but
if you were
until the convention is coming to Chicago, and and I believe she's going to be nominated. She already has more votes than are required for her to be nominated on the first ballot. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
That's good to hear.
So these guys, you had a bunch of people who were trying to block her way, but they've obviously failed. I'm glad to say they failed, and she's made it over. So she'll be a great candidate. After she talks about being a prosecutor, coming after this felon, I mean, she's got a lot of materials. Everything from his comments about grab him by the to his comments about Black people and hell should hold nations. I mean, this is not what the American people are.
Right.
You've got to clean up our image worldwide, and she can.
What would you tell her in terms of, what does she need to prepare for? I mean, the obvious things, right? The ridiculous things, that the comments, but if you were one-on-one with her, what would that conversation kind of look like if you were to share your wisdom with her?
It would be, don't get taken off your game. They will come at you sometimes in ways that are unfair, but fair does not have meaning in politics. It really doesn't. It's not about fair. It's about who's got the force, who can do it regardless. And so expect people to come after you for sometimes no good reason. Expect it not to be fair, and just hold on to your moral compass. That's what I would tell her. Hold on to your moral compass. Do what you think is the right thing to do, and you'll be fine. Because if you let go of it, or if you let somebody get between you and your moral compass, you'll be very sorry with the outcome. You make decisions that don't reflect who you are, and that's a slippery slope to being made ineffectual across the board. So I think, and this, if anything, Kamala has proved that she has a moral compass and that she's prepared to fight for it. And I think that's the thing that saves all of us in this. And I think this is why she'll be a great president. And
she's also shown that she can take the hits too, because they don't play fair.
They don't.
They talk about things that have nothing to do with politics or being president.
They're already criticizing her smile. My question was, who criticizes somebody's smile? I mean, seriously.
It's so ridiculous. I heard this guy on social media today was talking about how important it is to fact check, because most of us just follow suit on social media, whatever. And they were talking about how back when she was the prosecutor, that she was putting people in jail, all these thousands of Black men in jail for weed. And in fact, it was only 45 or something like 40 for a different. And he said, I was on that bandwagon of believing it was tens of thousands of Black men in jail. He said, and I just did some research. So guys, fact check. He said, because a lot of you are still putting her in that, condemning her and saying, I'm not going to vote for her for stuff you don't even know is true or not. So fact check.
And that's why we in the collective become important, because we have to be the truth tellers and tell the truth. And my mother used to say, tell the truth and shame the devil. So we got to tell the truth and shame the devil with her on her behalf. Because she can't batter back all the nasty things going to be said about her, and she shouldn't have to. That's our job. And so I just think that if we beat back on those things that we have knowledge about and tell the truth and shame the devil, she will be fine, and she'll be our next president.
And that's why the knowledge of self is so important in this human journey. I have found myself, my husband and I can go toe to toe. I know who I am, and he could say something dumb to me, and I just get all blown up over it. And then the next day, you ask me, what was y'all blown up about? And I'll be like, I don't know, he said something. And it's like, well, but Beck, do you know who you are? I do know who I am. Well, why do you let that affect you so much? If you really have a true knowledge of self, dismiss that and keep it moving.
That's right.
She's going to have to do a lot of that.
Oh, a lot of it. But she's already been doing it. So I think probably, but we're going to take another quick sponsor break, and then we'll be right back, and we're going to be wrapping it up with you, because we know you have somewhere to go and we don't want to keep you, but we could talk for hours.
Yes, we do want to keep her.
I know. But we'll be right back for our sponsor. See you in a second. Life isn't just sweet or sour. It's a whole bunch of stuff, just mushed together and served to us as our journeys. My name is Celeste Wright Turner. I own a thriving PR firm with great clients.
I was the greatest American hero.
And just when you think you have it all lined up, you Max Turner, life takes another turn.
You say your husband's had an affair.
And in the pursuit of love and happiness, in the blink of an eye, something sweet can quickly turn sour. It's a roller coaster ride. Well, Doc, it's been a few years. 10 years.
No sex with the ex.
He went in with a condom and came out without a condom, and nobody noticed him twice.
Don't do nothing with him tonight.
Don't you ever just feel lonely?
The amazing and just the incomparable Ambassador Carol Moseley Braun is with us. And we've talked about so many things. I am really excited about the book, but I'm also excited about just any final pearls of wisdom you want to drop on us, or anything you just want to share, because what people don't know is how funny you are. And you are hilarious. So if there's anything you want to tell the folks, or anything you want to share with us, the floor belongs to you at this point.
Well, humor gets misinterpreted. It's hard to tell a joke because people will sometimes not come from the same understanding you have. So I try to be more judicious now with that. But what I want to say is the truth, and that is that if you believe in yourself and you have a moral compass and you believe in your dreams, you can set out to do whatever that is. And in so doing, you will not only do yourself a service, but you'll do the rest of us a service as well. And this existence is about, is service. Being in elective office is not about getting to sit on the dais and everybody calling you honorable. It really isn't. Although, and frankly, there's too many politicians who think that's what it's about. And there are too many people that think that's what it's about. It's not. It's about public service. And you get out there, you're supposed to be working for the people. And if you stay close, if that becomes your lodestar, if that's what you are committed to do, then you can't go wrong.
Nice.
Well,
I love it.
We normally end this with a question, but we kind of know your answer, but we're going to ask you anyway. If your journey of transformation and evolution were a book, what would the title be and why?
It is Trailblazer. And
I love it.
I guess the subset of that is perseverance in life and politics. You have to be prepared to persevere because it's going to be ugly at times. And sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for not good reasons. Babette, you tell your story about your husband, the argument with your husband. It's true. You know, sometimes people come at you and something you'll be passionate about something you don't, and you say, why was I passionate about that? And everybody's life has its own path. And quite frankly, understanding that you don't know what the path holds for you. But if you stay in the moment, stay in what you're doing right now, and try to do the right thing, that'll keep you girded. That'll keep you stable enough to be able to complete the journey.
Braun for president. I'm sorry.
No.
No, she said no way.
Right?
I want to ask one more question that I'm going to add.
Secretary of State. There you go. We can do that one.
Would you?
Oh yes, absolutely. In a heartbeat.
It would be amazing.
It would be. It would be.
I'm putting it out there.
Oh, good. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you.
No, hey, thank you. I mean, if I could hug you virtually, I would. But I love all of you ladies. Just means so much to me. And
you to us.
Well, thank you. But I'm happy to be a part of all of this. What we're doing here is historic, and it's beautiful, and what an honor.
Exactly.
Sylvia, thank you. Thank you for this.
And thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator.
Yes, this was amazing.
I'm sorry.
I know she's got pow and
Still got chills from her.
no, she was amazing, and this is gonna be a good one for people to.
She remind me of you when you moving furniture.
because I am a mover. It's gonna be first moving truck.
Girl, I'm telling you, that what's going to stay with me besides that amazing interview time to spend with Ambassador Braun is your finger. I could have lived the rest of my life and never have heard that story.
Oof.
Oh, you mean chills like ugh? Yeah, but look at it. It doesn't look too bad.
Oh, it looks terrible.
No, it doesn't.
It's swelled up and
Yeah, not from, you didn't see it the other day. It was like you can.
Oh, now she's going to describe it to us again.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tell y'all about my ills and woes and sicknesses and injuries. Alrighty, that was a great show, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. And we want to thank Senator Carol Moseley Braun again. Phenomenal. I hope you learned some things because I know we did. Make sure you tune in every Sunday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Central Time, and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you abroad, figure it out because I don't know. But we will leave you with one thing.
can't nobody do you better than you. See you next time.
See ya.